Hello and welcome to the Internet versus the World. I'm your host, TigerJ15, and on this episode of the Internet versus the World, we have Eddie Bowley, aka EddAche, creator of Edd Egg. So, Eddie, welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Always nice to have a person whose work I know about. Anyway, I'm just gonna get right into the questions. Feel free to answer them. You don't have to if you don't want to. So.
Okay.
First off, the name EddAche, how did that come to happen?
EddAche or Edd Egg?
EddAche.
Egg.
No, egg. EddAche.
Sorry, they sound quite similar. EddAche, a number of years ago, I got quite hooked on a game called You Don't Know Jack. Have you heard of that?
No.
It's like a trivia game show, but it's a sort of a twisted version.
Okay.
And I really enjoyed that, so I tried to make my own basic rip-off of that same game, and I called it EddAche, a pun on my name Eddie,
Yeah.
and headache, caused by trying to answer all the very difficult and stupid questions. And I just kind of adopted that as kind of my internet alias, because it was kind of then the internet was really kind of taking off. So I joined chat rooms, and because you needed to come up with a name for those chat rooms, I used to call myself EddAche.
Right. What is that sound?
The hissing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay.
I'm getting down my earphone, so I don't know if it's coming from my side or what, but...
Okay, let's just continue regardless of the hissing. So, anyway, where did the idea for Edd Egg come from?
The character?
Yeah, the series itself, the character and the series.
Okay, many years ago when I first started making my own websites, I came up with the idea of doing the comic, and I thought I was the first person ever to come up with this idea of putting a comic on the internet.
Epic foreshadowing.
Yeah, so I called it Bollocks, and it lasted for a few years, and when I was coming up with these character names, I had this idea that there would be this this rather mad janitor whose name was Edd Egg.
Yeah.
He would just kind of speak in non sequiturs, and he had the face that Edd Egg has. He has the small eye, the big eye, and the row of teeth as a mouth. And I kind of had that design, that was it. And then there was an occasion when I was, I never used that character yet in that comic, but then I was hard pressed to make a comic. I think it was coming up to a day I had to put a comic up, and I had nothing planned, so I very quickly drew a stick man, and I put that face that I previously designed onto that body, and that became the design of Edd Egg.
Right.
The non sequiturs sort of that led. It became more him being sort of wild and mad, but then that sort of later led into him being a pervert and a bit of an idiot, which is what he's sort of become now. The design of his face came from an artist called Doug Snapple, who he does Earthworm Jim.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. He had a game which I swear to God I think maybe me and maybe one other person in the world only ever played. It was a PlayStation game called Skull Monkeys.
Yep.
And it was one of my favourite games, and he was the artist behind that game. And there was a character called Willy Trombone, and he had a very similar style to Edd Egg in that he had sort of often with his art style, he has one characters with one small eye, one big eye. If you look at Earthworm Jim, he has one small eye, one big eye. And he has they have the top lip with the teeth coming out from the bottom and stuff.
Yeah.
So I kind of used that influenced my style, and I created Edd Egg based on that style. And so that's kind of how the character was born, through a series of accidents.
Through a series of accidents and mishaps. Okay, so I have a question. It revolves around your character Straight Guy. First off, were you always the voice of him?
Yes, I was.
Really?
The voice.
Really? Oh. Okay. Hello? Oh! Damn, it seems we've lost connection. Holy crap! Okay, well, we'll try to get him back, but, wow, this, I knew this would happen, second interview, and my freaking interviewee got cut off. Well, while he's gone, we'll take a quick break, and, yeah, here's a word from our sponsors. Hello, what the heck happened?
Sorry about that.
What happened?
My laptop shut itself down.
Oh.
I think it's one of those ones where, even though it's meant to be mobile, if I don't leave the cable plugged to the wall,
Yeah.
it will run out of battery in like half a minute. So sorry about that. Sorry, I thought it was plugged in.
No problem, it gave us an excuse to go to break, so no worries. Back to my previous question,
Yes.
were you always the voice of Straight Guy?
Yes.
Really? Because
Yes.
I always, no, because normally in the credits it would have someone else's name up, and I thought that it was them doing the actual voice.
The other name you probably saw is my friend Mark.
Yeah.
He's
I
my
thought-
co-writer on the series. He never really had a recurring character on the show. He'd have like one-off spots here and there. But Straight Guy, because I did the show by myself right from the very beginning, and from the very beginning I was Straight Guy. I used to talk in I used to do a Birmingham accent, and for some reason when I do show, my voice deepens, so it just became suitable for the character. I wanted because Edd Egg's voice is so wild and can be a bit grating at times.
Yeah.
I wanted Straight Guy to be a normal voiced character. Still not me, my neutral voice, because I kind of always thought maybe at one point I myself as a character would appear in the show. So I didn't want to use my own voice. So
Right.
I thought if I give him a sort of a normal accent, then that'd be a good character, part of his character. That he's pretty normal as it goes compared to Edd Egg. So yes, it was always me from the beginning.
Oh, okay. Now this question, you don't actually have to answer.
Okay.
It's, how did you, come, like I said, don't have to answer. How did you come to meet, Edd's World?
It's well.
Yeah.
He a number of years ago, I used to go to a comic convention called the UK Webcomics Thing,
Yeah.
and it was designed for small print web comics, like the little guys. Like there's not many comic conventions in the UK, and when they are, they're often of the big brands, you know. So it's Marvel, DC, and
Yeah.
really big ones. And whilst they might have sort of little artist alleys tucked away in the corner, it's still very intimidating to the small press. And I only ever made comics on the internet, and I found out about this convention, which wasn't that far off. So I went along, and I sold some of my Bollocks comic books and that, and Edward actually came to me. He bought a comic book off me. He was with Tom at the time, I recall, because I had two people come up to me. One was very talkative, and one was very quiet and reserved. And the talkative one was Ed.
Yeah.
Now, normally, if you see any footage of Ed as himself, you know, he's often very quietly spoken. But here, I think he may have been slightly in his element, where he was, you know, talking with comics and sort of like-minded, creative people, and so he was very, he was very talkative. And then Tom, I think, was pretty shy, so he just kept quiet for most of it. But so we got talking. We got quite chummy. Then I frequent a website called Beta, B3TA.
Yeah.
And he's a member of that too. And he's like, oh, hello, I still have your comic book. And it's like, oh, cool, you're that guy. You know, what do you do? And I looked on the link on his the LinkedIn website, and the episode I saw was Ruined, where it's the one where they dig under the ground and they find a like an Egyptian crypt type thing. And that was the first episode I saw, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. Like, and so we just kind of kept in contact. Then I started up doing a animation series. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't influenced or inspired by Edd to do so. So that kind of kicked off the Edd Egg Flash animation series, and we continue to sort of talk. I mean, I'd meet him at Newgrounds meetups and other comic conventions and stuff, and it's always great when he's there. You know, we always have a good time. He did a voice for me at one point in Greatest Hits 1, and I did a voice for him as one of the neighbours in Hammer and Trail.
I think you also did a voice in Asdaf movie. Did you?
Sorry?
I think you also did a voice in Asdaf movie.
No, I've not done a voice in
did.
Asdaf movie. I was almost in the recent one, Asdaf movie 5. I auditioned for a part, but I think ultimately it wasn't quite right for Tom. Tom's quite the perfectionist, and you can see from the amount of hits and subscribers he gets, that kind of thing pays off. So so it's no hard feelings. There'll always be another gig, I'm sure. But I've not been in an Asdaf movie. No.
Oh, I thought you were. Do you think you'll ever return to do Edd Egg, or come back to do any other animations or comics?
Well, comics I am doing. I am actually still doing comics. I have a Tumblr page called The Dexter Dimension, and it's a comic that I started during the UK webcomics things.
Yeah.
They were just kind of single panel comics, and it has this little guy called Dexter, and it always starts with Dexter and then something, and it's usually a word play or a pun or something like that, and the panel will be showing Dexter doing whatever the description is saying. And so I did those for about 4 years, doing I do like a collection of them for the sake of selling in a comic book. So I decided to put them all up one at a time onto Tumblr every weekday. So that's still going. I've got enough to see me through, I think, to the end of the year. And if that picks up, like if subscribers pick up and people really like it, which I'm getting a lot of warm feedback at the moment. So if that picks up, I may start creating brand new ones and continue it on that basis. So I am still doing comics, but for animations, I may still do like super short, silly animations that I can make in like a day.
Yeah.
Because Edd Eggs can take a great amount of time. I mean, an episode like Greatest Hits 2 or Edd Egg Sick can take about 3 to 4 months to make, beginning to end. Whereas something like Rocket Raccoon, I often do within the day. So I might sort of make those sorts of things, but it's when I'm in the mood and it's when I have the time. I'm quite busy at the moment now that I've sort of focused a great deal more on doing voice acting.
Yeah.
But as for an Edd Egg, I don't want to close the door permanently. I'd like to say maybe a Christmas episode, like a special one-off type thing. But I'm not guaranteeing that at the moment. It's again because it's a long, laborious task, and it's quite solitary as well, because it's just me in a room with my headphones on, lip syncing forever. So I mean, it's a maybe. It's not a permanent door shut on Edd Egg, but a maybe. And I mean, I was asked before would I continue the series if somebody else animated it, which I'd strongly consider, but it one depend on the quality of the animation, and two, I'm fairly certain animators want to be paid for their work, and I'm not in a position to pay anyone. I got little to nothing for anything I've ever done, so I wouldn't want to force an animator to animate for me and not get anything for it, so it's one to be considered if something arises.
Well, I don't know, there are animators that do it for nothing, but still.
It's true, but they often like to do their own series, their own thing, and I firmly encourage that. I'd never say um, don't do that. Come do my idea instead. No, if you've got your own ideas, you have to run with them. Otherwise you'll regret it forever.
So, how did you come up with the concept of Scum?
Scum? Oh, good question. Scum was part of NaNoWriMo, which is National Novel Writing. Something like that. And to write a novel in 1 month.
Right.
So throughout November 2011, every day I would write 1 chapter.
Okay.
And at the end of the month, I'd have a finished book. I misread the rules. I thought you just had to write 1 chapter a day, but no, there's apparently a rule that you have to write something like 500,000 words or something ridiculous, like some really large number of words. I think it may even be 100,000 words. I think 500 is a bit excessive,
wow.
But 100,000 words needed to write.
Was that per day?
Sorry?
Was that per day?
No, not per day. Like a complete book.
Oh man.
Finished book needed to be 100,000 words.
Oh right.
And I'm sort of, when I was reading it again, people were saying like you need to just pad it out, like go overboard with the descriptions, add extra scenes and stuff like that. And I thought to myself, no, like that can really spoil a good book if you add far too much fat onto it, just for the sake of upping the word count. So I completely ignored that rule, and I just wrote as many words as I felt necessary to tell the story I wanted to tell.
How many words did you get?
Oh, I think I got like 25,000 or something like that in the end. So a bit far off actually, a quarter away maybe. But,
yeah.
So I just need to write another 3 books and then I'll finally hit that number. The story was, now I purposely kept it very unplanned. I wanted to do a story a bit like if it was a point-and-click adventure, but told in a storybook.
Oh, so sort of like Monkey Island then.
Yeah, exactly. So it alludes very strongly to that, to those themes. But and just kind of my initial idea was that kind of that level of ridiculousness with the things you have to use with another item, like using a rubber chicken with a pulley in order to be able to get along a zip wire or something. Yeah, those kind of ridiculous setups. I wanted to sort of play around with those, but in the end I kind of drifted away from that and I went quite deep into this kind of murder mystery conspiracy story. Still like set in the world of video games. I was able to use loads of video game conventions and references. But I very purposely kept it very unplanned. Like my only idea was that I'd have a man in a room with a dead body, and that was it. And then the entire story just grew out of that one scene. Like every when I write my chapter, I get to the end of the day, I purposely, and it was very difficult, I purposely not think of what happens next. I'll just throw the character into a position and I'd have to work out what he's going to do about it next day. So it was extremely unplanned. So there'll be like one day where I come up with an idea for a chapter and I begin writing it that I've never thought of the day before.
Right.
And I just kept it up that way. I mean, towards the end of the book I did plan it a bit more thoroughly because I had to get all the plot points to come together in the end, I had to resolve the book. So towards like the last week I then did plan what happens in each chapter, like broadly what happens in each chapter, but it was very much a unplanned but an exhilarating exercise.
Cool. For the viewers, links to everything we've been talking about are in the descriptions below this video, so go check those out. Did you go to the MCM Expo this year?
I did. I went on the Saturday.
Oh.
I was only there as a punter. I did sort of trip by the Expo table and the Slum Over table just to say hello to the guys, but I couldn't say hello to Tom. He was like forever bombarded with a massive crowd of people, and No, I have no chance to say hello to him. Yeah, I mean, I see him quite frequently, so there's no big deal. But it would have been just nice to say, hey, how's it going? You've got a lot of people here. Do you want to go to the toilet at some point? But yeah, I turned up and I met up with my good friend One Chop, who's sort of a hunter. You know him as he used to animate for Weeble, as in Darwalls, and he does a lot of his own stuff now. So we got around together for a while around the expo itself, but no, as a certainly not behind a table, but as a punter, yeah, I turned up on the Saturday. I did turn up in a Pac-Man costume just to get into the spirit of things, but it was far too hot. It was far too hot, so I took it off.
Definitely. Do you think you'll ever go as a actual person that's selling merchandise or anything like that?
Probably not. I don't think I'm remotely well known enough to justify the costs. I mean, when I used to do the webcomics things, I've been lucky to break even with those, and for me those were more of the experience of just meeting creative people, and afterwards everyone goes to the pub, so that's always good fun. So yeah, it was just a chance to meet all these people mostly. So profit was never like on my mind. We never went there with the aim to make money. But with the MCM, you do go with the aim to make money because it's very expensive. So no, I don't think I will gain enough money to merit going. Maybe with other people, I may even be like a helper for somebody else kind of thing. But he has me and Edd Egg and all that stuff. Probably. Certainly not in the immediate future.
Okay. Well, we've come to the part of the show where we normally like to do a sort of quiz type thing. So this one has to do with video games, specifically video game theme songs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play the music and you try to guess what it is.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yes, I am.
Okay, here's the first one. Any clue?
The remade version for Smash Brothers Melee?
No.
No? Okay, but it was Dr. Mario?
Yeah.
That's what I mean, I think it was the remix version they did for Smash Brothers.
Oh, I didn't know that. It just said Dr. Mario theme, so I don't know whether you're telling the truth or lying on that one. So.
I might be wrong, but I know it's Dr. Mario.
Yeah, okay. Okay, so this next one is an easy one, and any real gamer should be able to get it, so you should be fine.
Okay.
It sort of starts off quiet, so I apologize. Elder Scrolls game.
Yes, that's Skyrim.
Yes. I thought I might add in an easy one.
I'm actually playing that at the moment. I've only just started.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh man, there is so much to do.
Not right this second, I mean, but I have only very recently started that game. My wife, I bought it for my wife the day after it came out.
Yeah.
And that was in November, and then about March this year, she turns around to me and says, "Do you think I should start the main quest now?" She spent over 200 hours playing the game. So it's only just about now that I've been able to get my hands on it.
Well, to be fair to Bethesda, when they make a game, they make a game.
Yes.
Still, it's a good game. So much to do in it. Anyway, on to the next.
Next song?
Yep, next song. If this plays. Right. Any clue?
Mega Man 3.
Right. Okay, you're actually the first person to get this far.
Oh, cool. I know my video game music, so...
Then again, to be
I'm
fair,
okay.
you are the second person to come on here, so you might actually set a record here. Okay.
Hit me with it.
Okay.
That was Metal Gear Solid 2.
Damn it! I was hoping I'd get you with that one. Oh, damn it! You've managed to get all four. You've beaten it. I know I should have had a prize ready. Oh well. As a reward, I give you this illustrious, somewhat invisible trophy, which I am now passing to him through the computer screen. So there you go. You've beaten me. You've damn it. Oh, I was hoping no one would get that one.
I'm a big geek when it comes to video games. I remember we were watching an episode of the Angry Video Game Nerd. Do you know of him?
No.
No? Okay, well he reviews lots of really crap old retro games. And he was playing one game, he said before that there was two versions of the game. One is the Mega Drive, one is the SNES.
Yeah.
And he was playing the game, and I said to my wife, that's the Mega Drive version. And she says, how on earth can you tell? Like, they look identical. I said, I can tell from the music. Like, there's different sound. You can tell from the Mega Drive sounding games to the SNES sounding games. Like, they have a different sound card, a sound chip. So there's a distinct sound between the two. And I could tell that one was a Mega Drive game, and that impressed her greatly.
I was once able to play I think it was A Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past on two computer screens at once.
Ah!
Yeah, so Nintendo, you stole my idea. Now that you've managed to thrash me at the game show, let's get back to the questions. Oh god. Okay. So, what's your personal opinion of Nintendo at the moment?
I've always been a massive fan of Nintendo. I had a NES and a SNES and a N64. I then drifted away briefly from video games. My brother got a GameCube, but then I came back to the Wii. So I pretty much had every interaction of Nintendo systems. Well, not like the Virtual Boy, but and I've also got a 3DS. With the 3DS, I'm finding a lack of content is holding it back. Nintendo, whilst they've made leaps and breadths in innovation and ways of playing games, I think it has alienated third-party publishers making games for them. Like, if we look at the the NES, like one of the best games. For example, you played their Mega Drive, Mega Man 3, the Capcom game. Now, whilst Capcom are quite supportive of Nintendo nowadays, you just can't. Will we ever see a kind of a Mega Man-esque game on the 3DS? Will the third-party publisher come forward and go out on a limb with a game and it sell well? It's a big risk, so they often have to rely on games that are previously established, some kind of sequel or a remake, or something that's a game based on something else, like a TV show or a movie. So it just doesn't have that same kind of support. I mean, PlayStation and Xbox have kind of stolen all the third-party publishers from Nintendo. Nintendo are trying to get them back. They made a big show of it with the Wii U.
Yeah.
But as it stands at the moment, I'm thoroughly unimpressed with the Wii U. I mean, all right, the kind of the tablet controller is interesting, but I want to know what the games are. Like, okay, Batman Arkham City, I've already beaten that. I beat that last year.
Yeah.
Why am I going to want another version of it? I just can't. And there's a big emphasis on this Nintendo Land, which is just a Wii Sports party game thing. But I don't know. I'm just not. It just hasn't been sold on me. And it's kind of the situation Nintendo put themselves in. Like with the NES, they had to market it as a toy. That was the only way they could pitch it to parents. That's the only way parents recognise what it is. It's a toy. And then they made it into a games console with like the SNES. They made some proper sort of hardcore games. But then to get the widestream audience back, they went back to a toy with the Wii. The fact that it was motion control, even the grandma could play. And in doing so, like, all the hardcore gamers have gone. They've gone to play on the PlayStation and the Xbox, because that's where the games are. Oh, sure, you can waggle your remote around and you can bowl a ball down an alley. But if you want to play a game, if you want to sit by yourself late at night, up to the small hours of the morning, playing a game obsessively, you do that with a controller in your hand, not a stick that you waggle around. You're going to get like wrist cramp at some point.
Or wake up everyone in the house.
Yeah. So to me, I'm just a bit. Now I'm sure Nintendo will do fine. They're an enormous company. I think they're the most successful publisher of just games. In the world. So I'm sure they'll do okay. And I do wonder if we will one day see them drop the motion control aspects and sort of revert back to just kind of console gaming. But I mean, of course, console gaming is effectively on its way out, with cloud gaming on the way in. So it's difficult to tell. Nintendo are going to have to probably make some compromises. So some of their own personal set rules of how they work, they're going to have to change to sort of keep up with the modern day market, because it's going in a direction that Nintendo are very reluctantly following.
I suppose if Nintendo fails at making video games, then they could always go back to making artwork.
They could? What, you mean like the playing cards?
I don't know, because back in before they started doing video games, they were a company that did sort of art in Japan or something.
Alright, well I know they did playing cards.
Did they?
And then they, kind of like Magic cards, but before Magic. And then they later started up the LCD Game & Watch games.
Yeah.
And then they went for it with the NES, which was effectively an arcade machine at home. So they got a bunch of sort of small-scale arcade ports, which was their own games, because they were making arcade games. So it was their own games. It was Sega that really tapped into the arcade market. When they made the Mega Drive, they bought loads of arcade games to put onto their system, like Altered Beast and Golden Axe, those sort of things. They're they're the sort of games that you can imagine you just put in hundreds of quarters just to get through to the final level. You know, quite short but very hard.
Yeah. The irony of this conversation is I'm talking about stuff that was way before my own invention.
Actually, I might be. I can't remember when.
Well, how old are you at the moment?
I'm 30 this year.
You're 30?
Yeah.
Right. I'm younger then.
Yeah.
So about 11 years you have on me?
I've been most of it playing games.
Time well spent. Time well spent.
Well, I aced that quiz, didn't I?
Yeah, true. And you have your invisible trophy.
Thank you very much. I put it on my invisible mantelpiece.
What main console do you have at the moment?
I've got a PlayStation 3, which I'm probably playing the most at the moment. I've also got the Wii still. Packed up away, but I do still have. I have the N64 and the SNES, a Mega Drive. I've also got my 3DS, which I play with all the time. My wife's got her own DS. I'm not a big PC gamer, but I do have a PC, and my wife, she's playing Diablo 3 at the moment. So, yeah. Oh, and I've got my PlayStation 2 in a bag somewhere. So yeah, I've got quite a lot of them.
Damn it, that's Microsoft 2, Sony 1. You're the first person on here that actually owns a PS3. Congratulations.
I've never played an Xbox game. I think I've tried one or two, like in game conventions. You know, they're not an Xbox game, so I give them a go. But like, you know, sometimes it flashes up, press A button. I'm thinking, where's the A button? Because I don't know the layout of the controller of my heart. I know the PlayStation layout, but I don't know. So I had to keep looking down to what button I'm pressing. You know, where is the A button? You know. I know they colour coded, but you still have to look down to know what button you're pressing, which isn't good when you're trying to play the game. So no, I've only played a handful of Xbox games, but not many.
Well, I used to be a Sony player like you, but then I got into Xbox.
I thought you were going to say then you took an arrow to the knee.
Ah, yeah, you thought I was, didn't you? No, that was only to deceive you.
The double bluff.
Anyway, I think this is one of the last questions.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just going to list a number of people who are famous on the internet, and you tell me whether you have heard of them or know them or not.
Okay.
EddAche.
Yep, I know him. He was guest voice actor in Greatest Hits 3.
Yeah, true. Happy Harry.
Yep, know him too. He was a guest voice actor in Edd Egg Star Trek.
Oh yeah. Damn it. Rubber Ross.
Rubber Ross.
Rubber Ninja.
Yes, I do know of him. I'm not overly familiar with his work, but yeah, I know of him. I'm sure I've seen one or two of his pieces, but I'm not overly familiar with him.
Okay, Brental Floss.
Yep, I know him. I'm a big fan. I've got both of his CDs. He even guest voiced for me in Edd Egg.
Oh yeah.
Too as well as the Space Invader.
Okay. Yeah, because he has a comic now as well.
He does. If I'm honest, not a fan. It's
Really?
a bit lame, personally. But I mean, you know, I appreciate him and his music, and I appreciate what they're doing. But as a comic, you know, it's okay. It's not brilliant.
Okay. Ray William Johnson.
Yes, I do know of him. Yes.
Smosh.
Not a fan. Smosh, also heard of. Not a fan.
Okay. Hot Diggity Demon.
Yes, I'm a fan. I like his pony stuff at the moment. I especially liked his Wacky Game Jokes for Kids and Jerry series.
I never saw Jerry.
It's worth watching. It's worth watching all the installments of Jerry.
Okay. Jontron.
I've heard of him fairly recently. He does a lot of sort of, in the context I've seen him, sort of speaking over video game related videos, but that's kind of the extent of it.
Hey, he does a gaming channel with Ego Raptor now.
Yeah, so I saw a launch video of that recently. I haven't watched it yet, but I saw the video was up, so I need to check that out.
It's basically those two talking while playing video games. That is quite good. Yeah. And last but not least, Tiger J15.
Yes, who's that kid?
I don't know.
That young kid, yes, who's about half my age, I think.
He's some idiot that won't. He's an idiot who won't return my calls. That's probably why. Okay. I believe that we have reached the end of our questions and have pissed off my roommates enough for the night. So yeah, this has been the Internet versus the World. I've been Tiger J15. This has been Eddie Bowley, Edd Egg, and Straight Guy.
Thank you very much for having me.
No problem. Thank you, peoples, and good night.